r/ask Reddit. What is slowly dying off or disappearing? Fireflies. They mostly rely on the bioluminescence of their fellow species in order to attract for mating. However, due to increasing urbanization, which is also increasing use of artificial lighting, street lamps, their presence is dwindling. I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and thankfully, due to a combination of more people going with native landscaping and an even larger number just not giving two shits about their yards, combined with some fantastic public parks that also don't get crazy pesticide lawn treatments, we have the healthiest pollinator population in the state. This means we also have tons of beautiful lightning bugs, so I'm not sure light pollution is a big driver of the problem. I would be inclined to blame people turning their lawns into green wastelands. Grass isn't green. Bring nature back to your yard and enjoy the sights and sounds. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Thanks everyone. I should add that this is heavily dependent on where in STL you are. Ironically, the more desirable places are going to have significantly fewer because of the way people treat their lawns. I am referring specifically to St. Louis City's residential areas and parks. If you live in the county, they'll be a lot more scarce. Again, stop killing everything at the expense of grass. When I was in village at my grandpa, I for first and only time saw them, and they are ducking awesome. Can't believe that something like that exists on Earth. Iodine in salt. Seriously, go to the grocery store and see how many brands of salt show this salt does not provide iodine, a necessary nutrient. Double quote. Fun fact, a lack of iodine can cause cretinism in babies and children. It's not just an insult, it's an actual devastating medical condition. Iodized salt was actually responsible for an IQ increase in the US. Lack of iodine was a major problem not many decades ago. Giraffes. They've become an endangered species. They've been endangered a while, but they're critically endangered now. That's so sad. I saw wild ones in Kenya and they're super amazing, like some kind of fantasy animal. Coral reefs. This is a huge problem and this comment needs to be higher. I went snorkeling 5 years ago and the coral was abundant with life. Went back 2 years later, 3 years ago, and it was like half dead. This was in Puerto Rico. I just had this same experience in Hawaii. Snorkeled 2-step on the Big Island in 2016. Beautiful. Went back 2017. A little bleachy here and there but nice. Went back 2019. And holy shit, it's a graveyard. Now 2021. And it's only worse. Most depressing shit I've experienced. Seeing the rapid decline. Roller skating rinks. Which is so sad because we have one in my town that used to be the life of the party. Every night it was going up. It's huge. It has a 3-story crazy maze too. Everyone had their day parties there. Now it's only open some obscure hours like Wednesdays from 12 PM to 2 PM. Yeah, there's a roller skating place near me. I remember going as a kid. In year 12 we went there for a pay class and the place was so dead. All the arcade machines were so old, like some from the 80s. The place was falling apart, almost felt abandoned. Affordable housing for young adults edited to add. People who ain't from where I live find the need to tell me I am wrong if I don't look for a home in a larger city. I am from the Netherlands and the last place I would look for to buy rent a home is from larger cities. I don't like the massive crowds, it makes me really uneasy and I feel the urge to escape from the location. Just got a 1-bedroom 740 square featuring for $1,300 and that's considered cheap. I am in Texas. A 1-bedroom used to be around $700 5 years ago. Edit. I'm in Fort Worth, TX to be exact for those asking. About a 30 minutes drive from Dallas. My rent was $900 3 years ago. It's going up to $1,250 this year. It ain't fair. Privacy. It's funny that there are so much laws and shit that say they value our privacy while in reality some shit ass Facebook will still steal your data even though that's against your privacy. They value your privacy because it's something they can sell. They meant what they said. Most people just don't realize which way it's intended. Affordable housing. Just when I started looking for my first home. Yep. Kinda hit home recently that I'll probably never buy a home for myself and my 4-year-old. I have a decent job too, but the housing market is just out of control and not slowing down. Not sure what it's like for kids growing up in apartments, but I guess we'll make it a joint adventure lol. That's my current situation. Full-time single dad with a 6-year-old living in an apartment. Family reunions. I was born in 1983 and I can remember going to one every year for both sides of my pop's family and just one side of my mom's. It's definitely a dying tradition since now you can keep up with everyone online. The leading people of your parents' families are probably dead now, so reunions are missing the common attraction. Now you have to wait for someone else to die to see everyone. You are 100% correct. The old timers were the ones keeping them going, and once they passed so did the tradition. Physical media. Vinyl sales are still on the up, though. It helps that vinyl albums don't feel like you're buying a song so much as an actual product. You get the album. The cover is a fancy art piece unto itself. You typically get high quality digital recordings you can download accompanying it, and the albums themselves typically have little goodies inside. Free parking. Even the smaller suburbs and their town centers started charging for parking. A town center near me had parking garages with above 30% vacancy on their busy nights. They started charging for parking, and everyone went to a different town center. Arcades. But more specifically, arcade games. Now in arcades it's just rigged claw games which only drops a plush if you put enough money in. Sad to see really. However, there is a rise in arcade bars featuring old cabinets, pinball, and newer options. Look at Tilt in Toronto as an example. They opened a Tilt arcade in my city in Ontario and we were all very excited, but it immediately turned into a hotbed for people getting their drinks drugged and lots of women coming forward saying they were targeted at the arcade. So the fun and novelty wore off very quickly. I feel like people who say common sense haven't been paying attention to history much. There's a reason we have a lot of safety rules and advanced medicine. I slowly learned over time that most rules are usually put in place because someone did something stupid. Mouse commerce has been going crazy and COVID I feel was the final nail in the coffin. I saw a shirt for $25 in the mall in a store and saw it for $13.99 on Amazon. It also took a day to have it shipped to me. Interesting. I feel like the malls around me are massive and killing it. My local mall has been getting renovated for like 2 years now. It really just depends on your area. The outdoor shopping plazas do really well in my area, and the outlet malls do really well. But I went to a mall a few days ago, one of your classic JCPenney, Target, Masses on each corner, Hot Topic and other stores in the center, and it was just dead. Not good at all and really weird feeling. Traditional cable TV. There's never anything good on anyway lol. 1000 plus channels with nothing fun to watch lol. Where I'm from that was considered satellite when I was a kid. Cable was under 100 channels and only had somewhat local channels. I'm not sure if we just called everything wrong, but I remember cable never going over 100, and one of the channels was to show you what was on the other channels by slowly scrolling through. Facebook only pages posting memes and videos. Almost no real person still posts what they are up to. There was a recent survey that showed a lot of young people have stopped using Facebook. Yeah, it's kinda bothersome cause I'm considered by my school as a third year but retaking some lower classes and had asked my classmates if they have a Facebook group for assignments and shit and they all said it's for old people. Amphibians. It's a worldwide phenomenon. It's because of the chemicals turning the freaking frogs gay at it. Holy crap, I've never had even close to that much upvotes in my life. Thank you for all the rewards. Why? My hair. Mom and pop businesses. It's ironic. Ask any stupid US politician about that and they will say I support small business mom and pop business, yet they go ahead and duck them over by giving subsidies to big business which then uses them to undercut local competition and then raise prices when they're gone. Here in Canada we kept doing soft lockdowns to keep COVID numbers in check, but we kept big box stores open, so mom and pop shops got ducked, while Costco and Walmart made cash hand over fist. Christmas cards we used to get and send a ton, and year by year it gets smaller. We kept ours taped to the front door as a kid. The door was usually wallpapered top to bottom. We got one card last year. My mum used to string some twine across our living room ceiling and hang them over that. By Christmas, There would be rows of cards crisscrossing all over and you could barely see the ceiling. Religion. At least in the US, an increasing number of Americans every year declare themselves nons, atheist or agnostic, etc., according to various Pew Research Center polls. In Spain, a very religious country historically, it is hard to find young people participating actively in religion outside of the most conservative circles. This just reminded me of a tidbit. Apparently, lots of Spanish people are registered as Catholic even though they aren't practicing just because they were baptized and there's no reason to get it officially changed. But for those that move to Germany, that registration gets carried over and they automatically have 10% of their income tithed to the Catholic Church until they pay to cancel it. Small restaurants and cafes. One of my favorite cafes was a victim of the pandemic. It was literally a one-woman operation with cozy seating, which of course wasn't utilized during the pandemic, and had dozens of latte flavors that you could combine to make a bunch of different drinks. I still miss it. World War II veterans. There's estimated to be around 300,000 in the US. Considering that when I was a kid there were still a few World War I veterans shuffling around and I've seen them go extinct. I'll likely live to see the World War II guys die out also. Sobering thought really. When my great-grandfather passed in 2014 at 94, we were holding his funeral on a Monday in January. My grandpa, great-grandpa's son-in-law, who fought in Vietnam, is in a military support biker club, Patriot Guard Riders. Tried to get a few people to give my great-grandpa one last salute, but due to the timing we didn't expect many people to show up. Amazingly, dozens of veterans and servicemen showed up to give him a final salute because he was a World War II veteran who fought in Germany. He had a whole 21-gun salute and everything. As sad as his passing was, seeing him be honored that way was beautiful, and I'll always be happy that his service and passing was not in vain. It's sad to know so few remain. I just hope they all get the same final salute as my great-grandfather. They deserve it. Glaciers and ice caps. I'm from BC, Canada, and I really have noticed the massive mountains don't nearly have as much snow on them as when I was a kid. Cars with manual transmissions. Edit. I am referring to the car markets in my native country, US. As many of you have pointed out, this isn't necessarily the case elsewhere, at least not yet. That's the norm here in the UK. Automatics are rare. Everyone, enjoy your finite existence. Frogs, bees, insects, chain of life species that connect the web. When those pivotal groups go extinct, humanity is ducked. Edit. A great video by Steve Cutts is relevant here. https://youtube. Bewf middle clue. Drive-in theaters. I loved these as a kid. There's still a few left, and a couple popped up during COVID here and there, but you have to hunt them down more and be willing to drive out a way sometimes. There's nothing like loading snacks, throwing some extra cushions and pillows in your vehicle, pulling up, and taking in 2-3 movies on the big screen under the stars. Also a good adventure for dates. The ability to have actual constructive arguments. Cartoons like the ones in the 90s when the creators had fun creating rather than worry about the target demographic. Lot of them were aimed at children, but adults enjoyed them and still do. Days of experimenting like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon used to do. Cartoons that weren't profitable in the 90s were still cancelled. People just don't remember the shit ones. Patience. Journalistic integrity. Manners. So many people sneeze and cough without covering their mouths and will flip shit if you remind them to. People who openly antagonize service workers. People acting ridiculous in public places. It's like self-awareness has become rare. A whole bunch of plants and animals. Dating in person or the traditions that come with relationships like marriage or kids. I know a lot of people who don't want kids besides me. I like how it's more acceptable too, because I really can't see myself having children. Telephone booths are completely gone by now. I haven't seen any in years. My will to live. I remember seeing bumblebees everywhere when I was in elementary school, early 2000s. I grew up in the Midwest suburbia, And I have fond memories of grabbing my butterfly net after school and pretending like I was the butterfly equivalent of Steve Irwin. Yes, indeed, I fancied myself quite the garden naturalist and explorer. Neighbors would see me and my butterfly squad prancing through the neighborhood. Bold little adventurers decked out in makeshift safari gear, crouching, rolling, and patrolling through the backyards, trying to scout out the very best butterfly garden hotspots. When we found a good garden, we would document it in our butterfly safari map. Then we'd revisit the butterfly oases as the season progressed to see how different flowers' blooms impacted the bug turnout. We would catch all variety of bugs, put them in our bug zoo, and charge parents to see our haul. Open bracket. Of course I would always release them, even if some of our zookeeper fancied themselves as quite the taxidermists. We'd always be disappointed, 70% of the time IRL. But it felt like always, when we'd show up to our butterfly hotspots and see nothing but buzzing, droning, mindless bumblebees. They would come in such numbers. I thought they were pushing all the butterflies away. It was such a letdown when I wanted those beautiful butterflies. I am sad to say I would have welcomed their extinction at this point in my life. Not anymore. Today, I understand their importance. Sadly, I cannot remember the last time I heard the buzz of a bumblebee float by, and I will be sure to take a mental snapshot next time I see one. For all I know, it could be the last bumbler I ever see. Ability to write in cursive. Having a unique and artful signature used to be as much of someone's character as their style of dress and mannerisms. Pangolins. The existence of any semblance of community in real life. People who put their shopping carts back in the cart corral. The name Gary and Karen updated to add the name Karen. The amount of people actually getting married and having children is decreasing amongst millennials and the generations going forward. Culture and traditions. Belong to a tribe myself. I guess within 10 years the cultural values and traditions will be nowhere to be found. CD players and radios. Baby boomers. Minorities in China. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.